Everyone. Today we are going to learn Python connectivity with MySQL. Python needs a MySQL driver to access the MySQL database, and the driver that we are going to use is MySQL connector. You can use other drivers also like MySQL DB, but this video will teach you how to connect using MySQL connector. The first thing you need to do is to install the MySQL connector. So the command to install the MySQL connector, pip install MySQL connector, go to this particular directory where your Python files are there. In that, go to script directory and write this command, and it will install MySQL connector. After you have installed the MySQL connector, then write import MySQL connector and see, is it giving an error or running fine? That means it was able to install this properly. Then the next thing after importing this MySQL connector is to establish a connection with the MySQL server. In my case, I have installed MySQL 5.5 on my PC. Now, I'll be using this and showing you at the background how my database is getting affected. So you'll be able to see the things over here clearly. Now let's get back to our connection method. The first thing that you need to do is using mysql.connector, you have to use .connect method. The connect method requires an argument. What are these arguments? The first argument is the user. Now user is a username that you use to work with MySQL server, and the default username for the MySQL database is root. Next argument is password, and password is this password which is given at the time of installing your MySQL. I gave the password while at the time of installation 123. So I'll be using this as the password. Now, next is host equals to. Now, this host is a server name or the IP address on which MySQL will be running. So, this is my local host. And local host is a local server which is there on every system. And the IP address of the local host is 127.0.0.1. It is used for a budding programmers to check their things locally on the system before hosting it on the network. So it gives you the same interface. So every system has a local host of their own whose IP address is 127.0.0.1. Next is, if you want to directly connect to the database, that is called test. I have already made. I'll show you. Show databases command. There is already, as you can see, a database test made. So if you want to already connect to a database that is already created, then you can write as an argument here, database is equals to test. So I have also given the same things, the explanation over here down, which I have told you just now. So you have to use the connect method to connect to the MySQL server. It will return you a connection object, and you can then store that in any variable of your own. The variable name that I have taken is con. You can give any name of your own. Next thing is check. Let me execute this, shift enter, because I'm working on Jupyter. Now to check is the connection being established properly or not. With the connection variable name, there is a method that you can use is connected. Is connected method will return true if the connection is established, otherwise will return false. So this you can do it to check. So in my case, as you can see, it has given me true. Now the first thing that we have to do is to import our MySQL connector. Second is connect through the MySQL connector to the MySQL server and get a connection object. So con is my connection object. So now I'm going to fetch all the records from my student table. Now let me show you select star from student. I have sorry, I haven't used the database test. Should have used the database. Now I'll say there is already a table made in it, student. Now if you want, you can even make a table on your own. You can even connect to a database of your own new database that you want to give. So I'm just showing you all the ways that if your database is already there, how to go about it. Now you could have even created the table here, but in my case the data table is already created. Now let me delete some records so that when I'm showing the records where ADM is greater than 4. So can you see, now I have short and sweet records in my table. Now after establishing the connection, the next thing that you need to do is, using the connection object, you have to then use the cursor method. The cursor is required. It will return you a cursor object, and again CUR is a cursor object, a variable name given by you, which you can change the name. I have given the name as cur. Now, why do you need cursor object? You need cursor object to execute SQL statements. So using the cursor only, you can execute all the SQL statements. Now, I have written here select star. If you want to create a table, you could have written here create table, student, and all the fields here. So any SQL command that you want to give, you can do it here. So how will you write? Using the cursor object, you will execute, call the method execute and give your SQL query. You can give your SQL query within single quotes or a double quotes. Now cursor will have all the records from the student table, and it has become as an iterable object. So you can loop within this iterable object to print every record. Now every record will be there in the form of a tuple. Now after you have fetched all the records, you want to then should close the cursor and should close your connection properly. Now if the connection dot is connected returns you false, the control will automatically go here to else and say sorry, the connection couldn't be established, and you need to then check your connection method. So as you can see, I have executed this record, and 1, Puja, 2, 3, 4 have been fetched and shown to me. So through this, I am able to connect to my MySQL database test, and in that database test, I could fetch records from the student table. So this next, what we are going to do is, I'm going to show you the working of all the three functions which have been told by CBSE: fetch all, fetch one, and fetch many. Now same thing, first you have to, now I have closed my cursor and I have closed my connection. Did you see? So I have to open my connection again. So I'll be running these statements again to open my connection, otherwise it will give you. Now let me again check, is my connection connected? Yes, it is giving me true. So next we'll go to fetch all. Now, same way that we have done, first checking our connection, is it connected? Then obtaining the cursor, and after obtaining the cursor, invoking the execute method and writing select star from student. Now, cursor.fetchAll will fetch all the records from the cursor and will return you a list of all the records. So it will be a list of all the records, and the list every record will be enclosed in a tuple. Now let me execute it and show it to you. As you can see over here, cursor.fetchAll. So it fetched all the records from the student from the cursor and it stored in an X. I have for your convenience shown you the type of X. So it is a list. And what is X? X is this whole thing. X is a list, and each list has all the records enclosed in a tuple. Now X may you can use it as an iterable object, and you can iterate within the X, and X for I in X, I will be the first record, then I will be the second record, then I will be the third record, then I will be the fourth record. So this way you are going to use fetch all method to fetch all the records in one go. Next is, if you want to fetch one by one. Now what is fetch one going to do? Fetch one will fetch the first record from the cursor and will return you a tuple, and will return you a tuple because every record is enclosed in a tuple. So the same thing we have to do is first check for our connection, create a cursor object, use the execute method to execute your SQL query. Now you can write any SQL query with all the conditions. Select start from student where admission number is greater than equals to, let me write, where admission number is greater than equals to 3. Yeah, less than equals to 3, let me write, so that we get at least 3 records. So now, how many records this execute will fetch in the, will have it in the cursor, will be 3 records because fourth one will not come. So when I say fetch one, it will fetch the first record and will show you, and it will be showed in X. So let me execute this and show you the output. Okay. So as you can see over here, three records were fetched. When I said cursor.fetch1, it fetched the first record, and the first record was this and shown to you. And it got stored. I stored it in a variable X, so I can see the type of X is a tuple here. And the X got printed, the whole record got printed here. Now the cursor will go to the next record, and if you say cur.fetch1, it will fetch the second record this time. So the second record fetched is this, and the data type is again a tuple. If you want to iterate within this record, which is the tuple, you can use using a for loop. So when I say for I in X, now X is second record. So when I say for I in X, I will be 2, the next time I will be Adi, the next time I will be DW. So you can iterate within the tuple to fetch individual values. So will I be writing fetch 1, fetch 1, fetch 1 3 times if I have to fetch all the records? No, you can use fetch 1 within a loop. So I don't know how many records I have. There is a way to know how many records you have in your cursor, which I'll tell you later on in my videos. But if you are not sure how many records right now are there, then you use a loop. While true is an infinite loop, and you fetch the cursor one by one. One by one you fetch the record from the cursor. So you say cur.fetch1, and it will be returned a tuple in X, and now it will fetch the second record, it will fetch the third record, and it will fetch the next record. If there are no more records to be fetched, X will be an empty tuple, and you know empty tuple is false, so X will be false, and if not of X, it will make not of false as true. So if true, break. So it will break out of this while true infinite loop if there is no more records in it. So again, I have, for your convenience, print the type of X. As you can see, it will be a tuple now, and printed the X, and you can iterate in that tuple. So let me run and execute it for you, and let me show it to you. I think the connection got broken, so let me execute that code again of having a connection. Okay, now next thing is, we have done fetch all, we did fetch one, now we have to go to fetch one, which is in while true loop. Now let me run it and show it to you. So how many records it has fetched? The first record was this. Now what was my condition? Where ADMNO greater than equals to 2. So can you see the first record is not there? So you can write any condition here using your like operator, your between, your any condition that you want to have, order by, group by, or anything like that, or any aggregate function also if you want to write. So it has fetched the first record in X, and X is not empty. So it will go and say for I in x, it will iterate each value of the x to, and then it will go and fetch the third record, iterate within each value of that x record, and then it will go to the fourth record and will fetch, iterate within each value of that record. So this is how fetch 1 is happening. So within the loop, I have used fetch 1 to fetch 1 record and will break when there are no more records to be fetched. Now the last function is fetch many, which is, see, why do we fetch all the records and we fetch one by one? Because all the records once fetched using fetch all, they are stored in the buffer, and the buffer takes memory. So if you do not want to waste memory and want to fetch all the records, then you can say fetch one. Now if you are tired of fetching one by one record and you would like to fetch three records at a time, not one, then there is an option, you can go for it, fetch many. Now fetch many, again, what are you going to do? You are going to check the connection. Is it connected or not? Is the cursor, or then obtain a cursor and using the cursor execute this statement. Now what did I write? Select start from student, order by name. So in the, I haven't mentioned the mode, so the order will be ascending mode. So in the ascending mode, the, it will fetch all the records and we'll have it in the cursor. Now through cursor, we are going to use the method fetch many. Let me fetch just two records at a time. Now the two records will be fetched and X will be a list containing those two records enclosed in a tuple. So if the list is not empty, don't break out of it and iterate within X. But if the list returned is empty, that means there are no more records to be fetched. So now I have total 4 records. If I say fetch many 2, so it will first time fetch 2, next time 2, third time nothing. So it will break out of this loop again. So let's run and see the output. So order by name may, now the records are being fetched many, two at a time together, and they are in the ascending order of the name. The next time again a list having two records. Now what if I have written fetch 3, then first time 3 records and next time only one record enclosed in a list because there are no more records left. So if you say 3 here, the first time total 3 records will be fetched, which are these. Second time only one record will be fetched because fetch many, you had written 3 but there were only one record left. Now I hope fetch one, fetch many and fetch all the three methods are clear.